Are we ready? Okay. All right, we would like to welcome you all out to our South Salt Lake City Council regular meeting. It is Wednesday, May 24th, 2023, and the time is 7:05 p.m. I would like to excuse Portia and Clarissa, who had a conflict for tonight. My name is Charlotte Bynum. I will be conducting for Clarissa, and we would like to welcome all the rest of the council, city staff, and we have a lot of visitors tonight. We always like it when we have a lot of visitors, so thank you for being here. We will now proceed with our serious moment of reflection, and I will turn the time over to, and the pledge, and I will turn the time over to Shane Sywick.
Just the pledge. If you'll stand and repeat the Pledge of Allegiance with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Shane. All right, we will go ahead and move on to the approval of minutes, and I will entertain a motion. We have two different minutes listed on the agenda.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes on May 10th for the work and regular meeting.
I'll second.
I have a motion from Natalie and a second from Leanne. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? All right, that passes. We will go on to scheduling with City Recorder.
Thank you. Just a reminder that the next regular city council meeting is in 2 weeks on June 7th at 7 p.m. here in the council chambers. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to now move on to public comments. I do have some papers, so I will call you up in order of who submitted papers. If you did not submit a paper tonight, you will still have an opportunity to speak, but you will be after those who submitted papers. When I call you up, you will have 3 minutes. Please state your name and the city of residence, and we will let you know if you go over your 3 minutes. We will start with Brad Slaw, if you want to step up to the podium.
Yes, my name is Brad Slaw. I live in Salt Lake City, but I have a business in South Salt Lake. And I just want to speak in favor of Mural Fest. I believe that it has vastly improved this neighborhood, the Creative Zone. We are part of that Creative Zone, and this year we participated in Mural Fest by having a mural put on the side of our building. I know that there have been some issues raised, and nobody's raised them before me here, though, tonight, so it feels a little funny to try to rebut them before they've been raised. However, I will say that we just came back from Denver, and we were in the Creative Zone there. They actually have several Creative Zones, and they're filled with murals, and they're filled with great places to eat and places to go out, brew pubs and restaurants and markets and creative industries. The notion that murals bring a neighborhood down or increase crime in a neighborhood, I think, is not justified by the evidence. And I also think that the murals in this neighborhood have started to create South Salt Lake as a destination. When we first moved here in 2006, there just wasn't much going on, at least in our little part of the neighborhood. And now there's a lot of stuff. There's a great concert venue, lots of brew pubs, creative industries that keep popping up here. The Visual Arts Institute is just moving their great big operation into the neighborhood. It's becoming a really cool place to be. Now, not everybody's going to like that. Some people don't like change. Some people don't like color. Some people like beige or they like gray. I don't have a tattoo. I don't ever want to have one on myself. I don't mind them on other people. But if somebody has a tattoo and I don't like it, I don't feel like I have the right to tell them they can't have that, or that they can never have a tattoo again. So the idea that we would close down Mural Fest because of a very small minority, even if it's a vocal minority, that is against it, I think is not what democracy looks like. We're living in a country right now where one parent complains about a book and suddenly that book is banned. That does not look like democracy to me. I think that's wrong. Anyways, that's what I got to say about Mural Fest. I hope that you will continue to support Mural Fest. I think you're going to get a lot of bang for your buck, and I think that the neighborhood's just going to keep improving. And anyways, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you taking the time to come up tonight and speak. Tracy O'Very Covey will be next, and I'm going to give the next name so you can start lining up. We'll make efficient use of our time. Eric Ostling will be next, Josh Hardy will be next, and Jan Hayworth will be after. And you can start lining up over here on the side.
Hi, I'm Tracy O'Very Covey. I live in Salt Lake City. I just want to talk about the benefits of outdoor murals in South Salt Lake and outdoor murals in general. Outdoor murals have been an admired form of artistic expression for centuries. They add a sense of life, creativity, and vibrancy, particularly to industrial areas. Murals transform dull gray facades into wonderful visual narratives that captivate the viewer, creating a sense of connection and pride among the residents. Their presence in urban areas has been transformative. Murals serve as catalysts for revitalization, they attract tourism, they promote economic growth, and improve the property values in surrounding areas. They enrich the lives of the residents and attract visitors. And I know that this place has really attracted a lot of visitors because of these murals. They offer a visual escape from our fast-paced world, creating an aesthetic experience, moments of contemplation, and a sense of discovery. Public art in general impacts mental health by inspiring positive emotions. It benefits people's everyday lives. It decreases stress and uplifts mood. Studies have actually shown that colorful outdoor murals reduce crime and deter graffiti and vandalism. They create a sense of ownership in communities and pride and actually community stewardship. Mural Fest really put South Salt Lake's creative industry zone on the map. I mean, people are really attracted to this area because of all the colorful murals. It's become a destination because of these murals. Communities all over the country continue to recognize the value of public art, and murals are increasingly popping up all over the country, as well as other forms of public artwork. Philadelphia, for instance, has a waiting list for outdoor murals to be painted. Investing in murals is a powerful tool for positive change, creating inclusive, vibrant communities and visually captivating environments for all of us to enjoy. In conclusion, the benefits of outdoor murals are undeniable. They foster community and connection, create pride of place, deterring crime, attracting visitors, and enhancing local businesses. And I painted a mural on the back of Mountain Land Design for 4 years in a row, 2 weeks every year for 4 years. And the connection to the community there while I was painting was just amazing. People, out for walks with their children, or walking their dogs, or riding their bikes, or people on their commute, zipping around to connect with the freeway and stopping their car to chat about the mural. So I definitely felt that connection with community, and I felt like all those people who stopped really appreciated having that and said so. So I hope that you'll continue to support murals in South Salt Lake. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Eric Ostling will be up next.
Hi, my name's Eric Ostling, as you said. I live in Salt Lake City. I'm a business owner in South Salt Lake, property owner as well. And we feel strongly that the Mural Fest has been a positive. We have 2 murals painted 2 different years. One very large panel, which couldn't be more proud of. The artist was fantastic. The experience of seeing people as the process was going in, I feel like people were stopping by with their kids. We often see people taking pictures, and not necessarily customers of ours, taking pictures and portraits. Lots of cars, motorcycles that people are proud of, they'll park in front, shoot photos of that, and I find that to be very kind of engaging. And there's been a noticeable uptick, I think, in the traffic, the foot traffic that we see in the neighborhood, which again I feel is a very positive thing. That in it of itself helps kind of deter crime in its own way. We've been in the neighborhood since, 2017, 18, and we were tagged 3 times pretty significantly in that initial year and a half period that we were there. Since we've had the murals, especially since the larger panel was done, we've had very little to no graffiti. We've had one small tag since then. And yeah, I feel like it does. It fosters community, and I think public art, that type of art, kids see that, families see that, and I think they feel proud about living in South Salt Lake, even just passing through. And we do see a lot of people come down the tracks line, and that's what they're doing. They're basically looking at the murals. And thanks for your time.
Thank you. All right, Josh Hardy's up next.
All right. Yeah, I'm Josh Hardy. I live on Robert Avenue, so right here in South Salt Lake. I bought my house back in August 2019. I'm a creative director, a graphic designer for 12 years now. The murals and the artwork here in this area are a huge reason for why I bought in this neighborhood in the first place. They drew me here. My partner and I are proud of the creative industry zoning and the Water Tower neighborhood distinction we love to call South Salt Lake home. Mural Fest is by far like one of our favorite times of year. We have tricycles that we ride around town, and we had a blast going around this year to all 10 different murals and meeting each artist individually, getting to know them, their story, where they're from, and just being a part of this community. Mural Fest introduced us to new parts of this neighborhood, that we haven't seen. I bought in 2019, and then COVID happened, and I didn't explore the neighborhood as much as I had planned to when I bought, and I feel like I'm catching up now. And Mural Fest helps so much with that, and meeting new neighbors and discovering new businesses and being a part of this community. Lastly, I just want to thank the city officials that do make Mural Fest possible for bringing the art and vibrancy and culture to our neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you. Jan Hayworth. And while Jan's walking up, that's the last of the lists I have. So if anyone else would like to make comments, you can start lining up over here to the right of the podium.
Thank you for hosting this conversation this evening. I'm an artist and I live in Salt Lake. My name's Jan Haworth. I've been involved in community projects since the 1960s. I have worked in England and here and created a good many murals and collaborative projects that have been open to public view, either in foyers of museums or places like Madame Tussauds, where I made a 48-foot giant for them. I also have done record covers that some of you may know about. Other tasks of that more recently have been being in Salt Lake and then creating murals on large scales, but with the community and largely with non-artists. So my daughter and I and my son have worked with over 1,000 people to create murals that now are on display in Salt Lake City. The SLC Pepper mural is one of the ones we did. And there's a large mural on the side of the Dinwiddie building, which was to celebrate the voting rights for women, and it's called Utah Women 2020. I'd love you to see some of those. The thing I want to say to you today is there's a kind of ABC behind the value of making murals and making art within the city that is open to the public. It's free, which is a pretty important thing. It means that it's very accessible. I'd call it an ABC, that the artist is at the top of this and working as an extra feed to their support. An artist cannot support themselves through galleries or through art sales of individual artwork these days. You really do have to teach or have a full-time or part-time job to survive as a cultural creative in the communities that you live in. Businesses are also a part of this narrative that we're creating in Salt Lake. So that's the B. The A is the artist, the B is business, and then C is community. All of those factors go to this kind of project work. And these are cultural creatives and cultural creators that are working hand in hand together. We have learned as artists to go and find businesses that will host our murals. That means that we develop a relationship with a local business that goes on. Other murals come from that, other enhancements of buildings or interiors or exteriors of these buildings. Also, we have learned to work with the community because, as Tracy said, as you are working, people come by, you talk to them about art. One time when I was working on Broadway, somebody passed every day to get coffee. By the end of the 2 or 3 weeks that I was working there, they said, "I'd no idea that art took so long." And that was wonderful to have those conversations. Once when I was working on SLC Pepper, somebody came by and said, "I always give a silver dollar to something that's really special, and here's your silver dollar." So, you know, it's important to us as artists. We thrive on this. We learn from this. The latest project that I've been involved in has involved 10 artists from Salt Lake, and it's a piece of 28 feet long that's going into the National Portrait Gallery in London as part of their permanent collection. It will be the largest work in their permanent collection. I knew these artists because of 337 and other projects. I would like you to continue your support. It means a lot to me, but it means a lot to the people that are here tonight.
Thank you for being here
Thank you.
tonight. All right, next.
Hello, good evening. My name is Joseph Dane. I'm a resident of South Salt Lake and work for a local business here. I'm a huge proponent of Mural Fest, and while my rationale isn't as concise as the ABCs, I think that it brings so much to our community. And like Josh, I purchased in 2019, and a huge reason of why I did is because of all the awesome art in South Salt Lake and where the direction of South Salt Lake is going. I actually put a mural up in my backyard right here on Whitlock, and I can see people peeking over, so I know that it really brings interest. And I actually brought 10 friends from all over the city in the county to Mural Fest who walked around. It was a way to show them how cool the city is I live in. But more than that, I think it brings people that frequent restaurants and brew pubs and pay taxes. And as someone who saw our taxes go up, I know how important it is for South Salt Lake to diversify our tax base. It's really important. And I just absolutely love the artists and what they're doing and love walking around. So I really hope that Mural Fest continues. Thank you. Should I leave this with you? Or?
You can keep it. If you have your paper, I don't need it. So yes, thank you.
Hello, my name is Caroline Kane. I am a resident of Salt Lake City, but I have spent the last 3 years working primarily in South Salt Lake and spending my free time in the area as well. So this has really become my community. This isn't just for show. I came from a work site to come to this meeting. So my primary source of income is muraling and art. So I may be biased, but I think that I'm very passionate about the idea that this is something important to prioritize. I can say a lot of things that have already been said. I can echo these concepts of what murals and public art can do for spaces as far as foot traffic, unity, community identity, reducing crime. But really, something that I want to echo that one of the artists said is that it's an accessible form of artwork for the entire community to enjoy. No matter your age, no matter what your income is, anything like that, what kind of art you've experienced in the past. It is for everyone to consume, everyone to have an opinion about. There's nothing wrong with disliking something, but the art should exist regardless. And good art starts conversations. So this is, I would say, besides technically a great piece of artwork, I think this piece of artwork is just great at doing its job. The last thing I want to say is that Salt Lake is such a public city. And South Salt Lake is really stepping into its own and forming its own identity now. And I think when I brag about South Salt Lake to my friends and the amount of time I've spent here, the first thing I talk about is how much South Salt Lake prioritizes the arts. And I think removing something like Mural Fest would be really detrimental to that identity because it's become such a strong part of the city's identity. Not only that, but it's such a visual distinction between exiting Salt Lake and entering South Salt Lake. There is a visual representation and a clear boundary of when you've entered the creative zone, and I think that's really impactful. So those are my statements.
Thank you. All right, next.
I get nervous, so I had to write mine out ahead of time.
You're fine.
My name is Brooke. I'm an artist that lives in Mill Creek, and I just wanted to share the impact that South Salt Lake's Mural Fest had on me this past month. I was a Mural Fest apprentice and worked under the artist Phoebe, who created the Salt Lake Sally mural on Robert Avenue. During the weeks of Mural Fest, I met incredible people who worked hard to make the arts accessible and enjoyable in South Salt Lake. I spoke with different artists who were excited to share their knowledge with me, and I felt like I was part of something bigger than myself. As Phoebe and I spray painted that bumpy as heck retaining wall, I watched the community around us come alive. People brought us water, and they wanted to chat. Commuters and neighbors went out of their way to welcome Phoebe, who is from out of state. Conversations centered around what future murals could look like and let us know which ones were people's favorites. Public art encourages conversation and can ignite strong opinions. And despite some strong opinions that Phoebe and I encountered, I hope that there will be future artists and residents who can experience the same feeling of community in South Salt Lake that I experienced, and that the art we create together will grow us even closer. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next.
Hi everyone, my name's Alan Ochoa. I was one of the artists that painted in, I think, 2020 or 2021. But first off, I want to say thank you for everyone that has made it possible for, I think I heard something over 60 murals already, or 50 murals. Like, that's pretty mind-blowing for one little city to have that many murals. And yeah, one of my favorite things about painting murals is that connection to the community. You know, you see the same people on their daily walk, you know, with their dogs, or just people stopping by and excited to see the end product. And like, as artists, it's, you know, it's fun to paint and create something that you envision. But at the end of the day, the residents, they end up taking ownership of that mural, and it becomes theirs. I've found, you know, talking to friends and family, referencing some of these murals in South Salt Lake as landmarks, you know, where they are part of the community now. And yeah, I don't know, it would be such a shame to have this all go away. And yeah, but thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Hi, my name is Michelle DeGeorge. I'm a resident of Salt Lake City, but I am an avid visitor of South Salt Lake. I am an inspiring developer and looking to bring my co-working space here to South Salt Lake, which centers around the arts. I have a creative agency, and a lot of time people don't think about artists as professionals, but they are. They provide professional services to businesses, to this world, to this country. The flag, the colors, the design, this building that we are sitting in is architectural design. What you see on your television, what you see, business cards, flyers, interior design, paintings. Art is fluid, and it lives and breathes through people. When I was visiting, not just living in Utah yet, but one of my friends kind of coordinated this mural design tour on bikes. We rented the little green bikes, and we had stops of little places where we would go all throughout the city. South Salt Lake was one of them. I mean, we went from, you know, the border of Salt Lake City and South Salt Lake, but it was free, and it cost us like $5. And then we went to the park, had a great conversation about who God knows what, but it was a wholesome experience. When people travel places, that's what they're looking for. They want to take a picture by a mural. You know, the gateway where those wings are, I can tell you I have a picture that's there. You know, so those are things that drive traffic, that bring business, that fosters community, that is a sense of identity for people when they are roaming through the streets. I mean, I can tell you when I've traveled from Florida to Georgia, driving from Utah to Oklahoma, if you see a mural, you're like, oh, that's cool. Like, you'll turn around and stop to go take a photo of it. It's a sense of identity. It's a living, breathing thing that also provides opportunities for individuals to create a life for themselves. It's a part of the ecosystem. It's a necessary part of the ecosystem. Without it, what would life be like? So I just wanted to share that I, encourage that you guys consider keeping that a part of South Salt Lake, especially with South Salt Lake becoming this beautiful neighborhood with all the development happening, attractions that are coming to Utah. South Salt Lake can be a part of that. And that is the reason why I chose to come and bring my business here, because I wanted to be in a place where I can plant some roots and develop the community. And it's different from Salt Lake, which is not. Salt Lake is really sterile, and it's very, sterile, I would say, polished, sterile. And I like South Salt Lake for its grit, and its desire to hold on to heritage and
Time.
history. So I vote to keep it.
Thank you. Next.
Hello. My name's Miranda Hawks. I've lived in South Salt Lake since 2002 over on Scott Avenue. I know Shane and I've met most of you. I don't really have anything extraordinary to add that other people haven't said already. But I can tell you something that is really cool. What we have going on actually gets teenagers interested in what we're doing, okay? Recently, Mayor Woods had me join the Arts Council, and I've really had more of an insight of what's been going on with our art programs and things, which has been really fun. My husband and I have 2 daughters, and I can tell you usually what they think is going on in the city is kind of lame. If you know teenagers, they're like, yeah, whatever, right? But recently, my husband and I took our girls to New Orleans. And, of course, if you've ever been to New Orleans, the murals there are just popping out of everywhere. It's just such a rich city with art and culture and life. And we came back, and our girls were showing their friends the mural pictures, like the last person mentioned. When you travel, you want to see those things. And our girls said, hey, wait a second, our city has murals here. And they have a lot of friends from other states, and we have family from all over. And we had friends and family come visit us just to see the murals. And so as a parent of teenagers, I don't know, it's really hard to get your kids excited about stuff that's going on. This was something they were really excited about. This is something that the idea of it not continuing is like a really big concern. I just think it's so critical to continue what we're doing. And the idea of removing any art is pretty horrifying, that concept. I totally agree with what everyone else has said today, and I won't go into, that, but I just wanted to say we actually have something really cool that teenagers and youth are excited about, and that other cities are noticing. And so I just hope that we can continue that, because that's really, as a parent, that's very exciting. And so, anyway, thank you for your time. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Caro. Feeling a little nervous also, but I'm going to add to the chorus of praises. I am a Mural Fest artist from this year, and also we live right off of 21st South, so I want to speak primarily as a member of this community, even before I was involved in the Mural Fest. This festival, to me, and to a lot of people, I think, feels like home. When I think of all the ways that home looks like, it looks like sharing, it looks like community, it looks like care for the arts. Art, especially public art, tends to be an immediate and far-reaching way to build community, to start conversations. It gives this neighborhood another thing to be proud of, to point out and say that this thing that we've created over the past 6 years is ours. This magical creative vortex we all enter into every year. It feels almost at this point like glue for this community. I'm proud, so proud when people visit me to point out all of the art that we have in this neighborhood. This festival feels like a holiday. And as an artist, this festival in a huge way has helped to give me my career. I got a chance to enter into the mural space last year, to get to share, to get to give art to the public, the whole public, to everyone. That's what public art is. It's for everyone. It's truly a reciprocal relationship as an artist to be in community with folks while installing a painting. And then those people that you interact with the whole time just get to keep it. Like, that's amazing. Yeah, art for everyone is amazing. Art should be for everyone. And I'm grateful that this festival exists. What an amazing thing that we have so many practicing artists in South Salt Lake. Like, that's a beautiful thing too. But yeah, I hope that it can continue. It means so much to me.
Thank you. While I'm giving people one more opportunity, if you'd like to speak, I'm going to share just some feedback we had from emails. And just for people who might be going, why are we talking so much about murals tonight? There was, we had our first complaint ever in Mural Fest, first ever, and it was on the news, and so I know a lot of people are very worried that it'll have a negative impact. And so we do appreciate the support. The City Council in general has always been very supportive of Mural Fest. It's one of our favorite things, and I anticipate that will continue. We did have 7 emails from people who couldn't be here tonight that were in support, and we will make sure that gets put on our minutes, submitted to our minutes. And then we had one that was anonymous that had some negative things to say, so we'll include that as well. So I'm not seeing anyone else coming forward. Does anyone else want to speak tonight? All right, we will go ahead and close the public comment with great appreciation for everyone that came. We will go ahead and move on to mayor comments.
Thank you. I want to start off by saying we held our 6th very successful Mural Fest on Saturday, and had a lot of support even with the rain and dark skies. It did break, and we had another great event. The budget that I have proposed to the council includes keeping Mural Fest moving forward. It was an idea that our art council director brought 6 years ago and said, I'd really like to make this work. And it's been a lot of heavy lifting, and it's a lot of work every year to, the first year I feel like we had to go big for applications, and this year I'll let Leslie update you on what number of applications we received. So I feel like we have turned a corner. I feel like we are talked about for our love of art, public art, and wanting to keep our city a little gritty and give opportunities to artists of all ranges. We've had some from out of the country. So it's a great event, and I'm grateful for all the people that took time out of their evening this tonight to share what Mural Fest means to them. So I'm grateful for that. I did ask Leslie Allen, knowing that there might be, that she just have some time to chat before the council. I'll turn the time over to her. But while she's coming up, I just need to also mention that this week is National Public Works Week. And so, and their theme is connecting the world through public works. And just a reminder, we do lots of awesome, fun, creative, colorful things, but we also need the water to turn on and when the toilet flushes, things to go away. And so we're just grateful for our public works employees, all that they do. They're also the ones that come out, middle of night when sewer lines break or water lines break, heaven forbid. And then we also have our stormwater staff on 24/7 right now doing checks of all of our creek pinch points. So really watching us, keeping us safe as we manage the snow melt, and you'll get an update on that a little bit later. But just a shout out to our public works, and then I'll turn it back over to Leslie.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Yes, we just finished our 6th year of Mural Fest, and I wanted to give you a little update on, we had almost 600 applications this year. Probably 60% of them were from artists from outside the country. This year presented 2 unique opportunities. This was a a really big year for Mural Fest, not only just all the applications that we received, but also being able to do a mural both on UDOT property and on UTA property. So we were super happy about being able to do a mural on the S lane this year. We've been wanting to do it for years, and it's a huge undertaking, and so we were happy with that. We've surpassed over 50 successful mural projects. Over the past 6 years, we've invested over $320,000 in towards Mural Fest, and I would say that at least 90 to 95% of that has gone directly to support artists, entertainers, graphic designers, businesses, just going back straight into the local economy. And we have supported over 200 artists, entertainers over the years, that over 200 creatives have been supported through the project as well. If you look at what are the main goals of Mural Fest, in my opinion, it's supporting artists and giving them an opportunity to showcase their work to the public, and then also to revitalize South Salt Lake and bring a sense of place to the neighborhood. The document that you have outlines a lot of the benefits of Mural Fest, and you've heard all the community support that we have. But I wanted to go over some of the maybe not so known aspects of how Mural Fest is really put together so that you can understand the context a little bit more. The jury process usually happens in January. The artists apply, and then they are presented to a jury. The jury consists of the Arts Council Board, residents, local artists and business members, city staff, including representatives from Promise and Community Development, and also a city council representative. And you may want to know a little bit more about how artists are paired with walls. As you know, I think I've spoken in the past on the difficulties we sometimes have of finding walls. It's a challenge. If we had a plethora of walls, we would be able to curate this whole project a lot more neatly, but we are typically assigning artists as the walls come in, and often there is a little bit of sometimes there's a little bit of reshuffling, but once an artist is assigned to a wall, that property owner gets attached to that artist spends time and puts a lot of effort into designing a proposal for that particular wall. So if we are to reassign them, that creates a lot of extra work for them. And not every artist is suitable for every wall. It depends on the artist's experience, the texture of the wall, the method that they use. So there's a lot of decisions that go into why an artist is put on a particular wall. It is a huge puzzle that needs to be that gets put together, and we do put a lot of thought into who goes where. But I think there's a lot more intuition that we rely on too, and in hindsight we usually come out with some amazing pairings and some amazing connections between the artist and the property owner, and that we're really proud of how those things come about. And once an artist is paired with a wall, they come up with their mural design proposal. Then the next step is the business signs off on the mural, and then on the proposal, and then from there it goes to the Arts Board for approval, and then from there Community Development also gives us their approval. I feel like the success of Mural Fest is in part due to the experience that the artists have while they're here. We try to make them feel really special and help them have a great experience, and the feedback we get from all of them is that they are really they're really happy to be part of something so special, and the connections that are made between the artists and the community, and then the energy in the neighborhood, and you heard from residents and community members, and then the effort that the city puts into it, and then the community pride. And then I just want you to know that every decision that's made along the way is truly made with the best intentions. I don't think most people realize how much work it is to pull off and these 10 murals and the planning that goes into it over the 6 months. And these artists, they truly put their heart and soul and into every mural, and I'm amazed at the amount of time and energy that they put into their murals, and nothing is just haphazardly done. So that's all I have, unless, I don't know if you have any questions for me, but.
Does anyone have any questions for Leslie? Thank you, Leslie, for all you do. I know you've been super busy.
Thank you.
Glad it was so successful.
And I forgot one more thing that in conjunction with Public Works Week, to get the kids involved and connected with Public Works, we hold Help Us Name one of the pieces of equipment. And this year it's the Hydro X, which is basically a water excavation truck that we use. So so it's for kids 12 and under. You get to put your recommendation in, and if you're picked, you get bragging rights. Then we'll paint the name on the truck, and then you'll get to ride, I think, in the truck in the 4th of July parade. So connect at sslc.gov and get them entries in quick, because like Public Works Week ends this Friday, so do the entries close for naming.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks.
City Attorney comments?
No, thank you.
None? Okay. City Council, we'll start with Shane.
You know, when you all came in and started talking, I looked over at Charla and like I was in the Twilight Zone, to be perfectly honest. And it's a poor reflection on me that I don't check city emails or watch the news. I had no idea this was even a thing. And I'm going to say all these other council people here will agree, by far, I am the most right-leaning person on this council. And I have 100% supported Mural Fest from the beginning. And if I support it, you can be guaranteed that these other 4 and the 2 that aren't here absolutely support it. I'm just amazed that somebody has complained about Mural Fest. And in fact, I even left a message on Sharon's voicemail. Hopefully you got that. Hopefully it wasn't this guy that complained, because it's a business. I've been trying to get his wall for several years, and I'm egging him on. I'm like, come on, I won't say his name, but I'm like, let us use the wall for next year. Like I said, I'm just at a loss tonight, because this city council has absolutely 100% supported Mural Fest, and hell would have to freeze over for that not to happen. I mean, just to be point blank, I am so grateful that you guys came in tonight, and I would hate to make you feel like you wasted your time, because being involved with your government is never a waste of time. Being involved with another municipality's government, for those of you that live in Salt Lake, we haven't seen this kind of attendance at our city council meeting for a long time, so you make us feel good for visiting here. But as far as I can see, Mural Fest will last for a long, long time. And I wasn't able to make it at the last one. I was coming back. I have commitments out of town, and so I was traveling back, and it was the first one I've missed in a while. Arts are so important to any community. They do exactly what you folks have talked about as far as building community and giving those of us that lean one way a better perception to another way of thinking sometimes. And it's just such a crucial part. We have a great arts council. Leslie does an amazing job. Again, I'm just kind of taken back, but thank you for coming. And wow, if I'm so tempted to use language I wouldn't normally use in a public meeting, but whoever complained is just too damn bad.
Natalie.
Yeah, I want to say thank you all for coming out to support Mural Fest. I was able to make it out there for a little bit before I had another engagement. Got a selfie in front of the mural that I shared, and I am the council member that sits on Mural Fest and got to review over 500 of our applications. Last year was like 300. I'm afraid next year, Leslie, if it's 1,000, I don't know what we're gonna do. But like Shane said, hell would have to freeze over. Arts are here to stay in South Salt Lake. Whatever we need to do to support Leslie. I even showed the murals to my coworkers. I work at the U, and everyone's like, let's just go get some ice cream and stand in front of the mural and take some pictures or whatever. So I really support you all coming out, and I think that makes a really good mark about where people feel about murals in South Salt Lake. In addition to that, I wanted to highlight the See It This Way Film and Idea Festival. The See It This Way is all about breaking stigmas. It's in partnership with Fit to Recover, and its director or owner is Brian, who actually is a South Salt Lake resident. So this is happening in Salt Lake City. They had 3 events that you can attend. It's all free, including a like escape room type open mind aspect. The next event is on May 31st. So check it out at mentallyhealthfit.org. Thank you.
Corey?
I just want to say thanks to everyone to be here. It really does mean a lot for us to have the public here at our public meetings. There are many times where it's just us up here in an empty room. And so it means a lot to all of us to have a full room of very energetic and people that love the community and want to improve our community, you know, artists and people that love the murals. And I 100% support the Mural Fest, just like all my other council members. It would, as Shane said, hell would have to freeze over before I think that the Mural Fest would not happen. I was shocked when I got that email with that complaint. It completely threw me off. And yeah, the Mural Fest will always be a favorite of mine. So as long as I'm on council, I will not support. I will always support it.
Leanne?
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone for coming out, and I am a big fan of Mural Fest as well. I've attended the last 4 years, and it's it does everything you all said. My neighbors, family, and friends, we all get together. We ride our bikes down the S line through the community, and we also visit the local businesses while we're doing it. And it really, and everyone there, the energy is so wonderful, and it was all just people happy looking at the beautiful art. So thanks for coming out, and I echo what all my fellow council members have said.
Thank you, everyone. And just to kind of wrap this up, yeah, you're preaching to the choir up here, but I think what was important tonight for you to show up and make these comments and for the emails that we've received is for future partnerships with UDOT and UTA. That is the critical piece. We're here, it's not going away, but we want to continue to grow those partnerships, so thank you for showing up. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on. Information item, we have Joy Glad presenting the Civilian Review Board quarterly report. So we'll turn the time over to you.
Good evening, Council. I send this to you in your email. It should be attached to your agenda. So for the record, I just want to make sure that everybody understands that there are 10 members to the Civilian Review Board. 1 is advisory. There are 2 alternates and 7 regular voting members. During the months of January, February, and March, the first quarter of the year, we received 35 narratives of use of force from the police department. Every one of those is reviewed by those 10 people. From that, it's determined that if any one person has further questions, that is when we watch the videos, either from the car or body cameras. We watched 28 of those 35 cases to answer any questions and make determinations from that. You'll also notice a column on your sheet that says significant discussions. There were a few cases that came up where we asked for more information, so we couldn't make a decision at that time whether it was within policy or not. But we came back with more information from the officer itself, policy, so that we could determine whether or not those were truly within policy. Sometimes policing is not pretty, so we want to make sure that we are looking at all the aspects that we can. And that's really all I have, but if you have questions, I am happy to answer them.
Anyone have any questions? I do appreciate the column for the significant discussion noted. That kind of.
I just don't want anybody to think that we're skimming over anything or cheating the system.
I'm super impressed. Any comments, questions for Joy?
Thank you for providing this quarterly report.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
All right, thank you. All right, we're going to go ahead. Our next information item is flood prep update, and we'll turn the time over to Dennis Pay and Corby Talbot. Did Dennis leave you, Corby?
No, he's out in the hall.
Okay.
Cool, this will go faster.
He's like, Corby, you've got this. Yeah, if you want to go ahead, and then if we have any hard questions, we'll save them for him.
Yeah, I'll let him do the snowpack update stuff.
Gotcha.
When it comes to operations, like the mayor said, we're doing 24-hour watches with the four of us and stormwater. So, let's see, other operations stuff. We got about 33,000 sandbags ready to go in case.
Yeah, is the mic on, Corby?
I think
No,
never, now
there
it's
we
on,
go.
sorry.
Our systems
Okay, I'll start
have
over.
problems, we know that. Yeah. Okay.
So, like the mayor said, we're doing 24-hour watches between the four of us on Stormwater Division. We have about 33,000 sandbags filled and ready to deploy if needed, staged throughout the city in different areas. The creek is slowly increasing in flow. We've been working actively with the county flood control to work with like Scott Park above South Salt Lake and some other areas to make sure everything works well. So far it's been going pretty well, but I'll let Dennis talk about snowpack.
Thanks, Corby. Yeah, what we're seeing is on our flows, first of all, is that they are coming up, but they're much higher than what is typically considered our normal high flow, but they are well below the flood flow. So we're doing okay, and it's been, like I say, they've kind of gradually come up. Corby mentioned the briefing we have with the county every week. One of the comments they made is that the weather pattern and that we've seen has almost been perfect for the situation that we have. So we hope that we continue kind of in this pattern of cooler temperatures, with a little rain. As far as the snowpack go, that's the other thing that's very encouraging, is that I've showed you a chart in the past, and I apologize today. I went to a board meeting at Central Valley. I was out meeting with a contractor, and then I just didn't get to print those out today. But I've showed you one that has a bunch of different colors, and you could see that black line that was way up above our high. It's actually dropped now considerably lower than what that high is. In fact, even into kind of the median range. So that's very encouraging. What that means is that a lot of that water that's in the snow up in the mountains has come down. Now, there's still a lot up there, I think we'll continue to see flows kind of gradually come up. But we've been able, or not we, but the kind of lower elevation snows have melted, and we've seen those come down, through the system. And so, we still have that high elevation snow up there that still has a lot of water in it. I'd love to say, hey, we're out of the woods and everything's going to be good. I can't say that yet. But we're in a good place considering where we were, a couple months ago, right? So, anything else?
Go Public Works.
Okay.
For sure. Does anyone have any questions for Dennis or Corby?
I just want to say, good job, guys. Everything that you're doing, you guys are doing really good. So I appreciate, Corby, what you're doing. And
Corby and his crew have done a great job. Like I say, they're 24/7 monitoring things. We've got, how many sandbags have we filled?
33,000.
30. I don't know if he mentioned that before. I came back in 33,000 sandbags. That's, I don't know, a hell of a lot of sandbags. Can I say that?
Hey, people are cursing left and right.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Anyway, Shane started it. It's just
we'll
like,
just blame Shane.
That's right.
No, but we're in a good place. Hopefully things continue this way and we don't have to use those 33,000 sandbags, but they're there and they're ready. And
awesome.
that group's ready to go. So
this is a dumb question, but if,
That's not the first time, Shane.
wow. That's
No,
good.
sorry.
No,
Go
that's
ahead.
good. That's a good one. Well, when you were out there,
Yeah.
and Corby said, well, Dennis isn't here, I said, well, it'll go faster. So we're even.
Fair enough.
Okay. What are we going to do with the sandbags if we don't use them?
On the county's website, and I haven't read this part of it yet because I've been concerned more about the water, but they do have a section on, what to do with sandbags when they're done. Have they had any discussions in that with some of the meetings you've
Yeah,
had?
it's been brought up a little bit. What we're going to do with them, we don't have a place to cover them, so if they don't get covered, they only last about 1,300 hours in the sun, so we'll probably end up just throwing them away. So
We've been
Use
doing
the
some.
sand to amend the soils or things like that?
No, you don't want to do that.
No?
It's
Okay.
not.
I'm not. yeah.
Too much sand.
But can we, I don't know.
We've
you-
been going through an internal parks planning process, and
Yeah.
beach volleyball, sand volleyball was one of the items. And
We
I
do a
think
lot of sand
Corby,
volleyball courts.
I think Corby put all of his dots on the sand volleyball.
yeah, we got a lot of sand to deal with.
Could do like a block of sand volleyball.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, all right. What we do with sand if we don't need it to be determined. All right, thank you,
All right.
gentlemen.
Thank you.
Charlotte, I excused Jonathan to go support his daughter in her last orchestra performance of the year.
Okay.
So I'll handle
Good to know. Family
the
first.
next two.
Very, very good. Family first. All right, so we will go ahead and move on to unfinished business items. We have 2 items, and the mayor will be handling both of those, and we've spoken about those now as
In redevelopment.
in redevelopment and as new business. So let's just talk about item 1. This is the dissolution of the Granite High Community Redevelopment Project area. Does anyone have any comments or concerns? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion that we pass an ordinance of the City of South Salt Lake authorizing the dissolution of the Granite High Community Development Redevelopment Project
I'll second.
area.
Okay, we have a motion from Shane, a second from Leanne. We'll start with Shane.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Wonderful. All right, item 2, again, this has been discussed on several occasions. This is an ordinance of the South Salt Lake City Council authorizing the loan of project area funds from the Market Station project area to the 3900 South Community Development Area.
I'll make a motion that we adopt an ordinance for the South Salt Lake City Council authorizing a loan of the project area funds for the Market Station project area to 3900 South Community Development Area.
I'll second.
We have a motion from Natalie, a second from Corey. We'll start with Shane.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, thank you, everyone. And we do appreciate Jonathan's hard work on that. All right, we'll move on to item number 3, Sharon Hari, who is talking about our fees relating to parks, community centers in South Salt Lake. So we will turn the time over to her.
Thank you. I've been dealing with a computer that decided not to work anymore, so maybe Leslie will give me my presentation on her laptop. If I still need to figure out how to get this onto the projector, if you don't mind, try to. Are you guys okay just going from yours? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've been trying to find.
We all have this in our Dropbox. so-
Perfect. There's a lot of information, so I'm a little sad not to have it on the screen, but if it's just in your hands, that would be great. So based on last meeting's conversation, I went back and did a few edits to the presentation just to give you the more clear option 2 as you directed, and just a bit more comparison to other communities' fees, and then a third just kind of showing what the percentage of rate hike is on some of these items. So again, I'll recap. We'll start with the rooms and go into pavilion second. On the rooms, we had either a small or no increase in community center rental fees. We did change the community center deposit. We suggested that. We kind of brought it back down for the second version. It's the option 2 you'll be seeing. And maybe also suggest if you want to do a lower deposit for small groups that are under 49 people, which is the typical occupancy of our meeting rooms, that's an option for you too. A reminder, we added setup fees to this so people can choose not to pay somebody else to do the tables and chairs for them. And then added the option for allowing rentals that are less than 2 weeks' notice, which is our typical standard now, by paying a little bit more for that late booking. Anyway, going to the next page, page 4. Again, our community center fees are broken down into standard, nonprofit, resident, and then the setup fee. and shows you the capacities of those rooms. So on the following page, page 5, it says room rentals, and it gives you the Viridian Center, West Valley City Cultural Celebration Center, an amphitheater, Family Fitness Center, West Valley, and Lehigh Rec Center, just as comparables for auditoriums, patios, and kind of gym spaces, which is what we have at the South Salt Lake Community Center, formerly known as Columbus Center. And you can see the rates there. It's a pretty wide range, and I actually think in many cases the rental rates of the facilities kind of reflect their age, so the newer ones have higher fees, and the older ones tend to be a little lower. Looking at that, our rates at standard rates, which is a commercial venture, something that's for profit or charging a fee, or not a resident or a local business in South Salt Lake, are at $100 an hour, or $75 for a resident, $100, $75, $150 for a auditorium, or $75 for a resident. Anyway, going down, our general rates haven't really gone up, and you'll see that later. They've only gone up a tiny percent or none at all. But that gives you some comparison with where other people are at, and we're, I would say, towards the low middle end of those. Any questions on those? The next page 6 is meeting rooms. So a different animal, like a little smaller room, mostly 25 to 50 person occupancies. And I compared that to Cottonwood Heights, Salt Lake County Library meeting rooms, which are, by the way, free. And that's exciting to me. If you wanted to get a free room, you can book it at the library, and they have their own system to do that. Midvale Community Room, West Valley again. And those classrooms range from $50 up to $100, depending on your resident, non-resident. And we're in the range of $25 for residents to up to $75 for the standard fee. Any questions on those? So on that next page, it just shows you the increase from the current schedule to the proposed schedule is in one case going down 7%, one
Darren,
case going
I'm
up.
going to pause you for just a minute. So I'm just explaining to council. So we have the ordinance like in its form here in our box. We don't have anything for your comparisons.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
I thought I was the only one.
The presentation,
Where
I thought,
is
is what
that
I
at, Corey?
sent to Ariel.
Yeah, it says presentation. It's under the regular meeting. I just added it right before
Oh, I
this
I
meeting.
found it now. Sorry. We had half the council confused. Sorry. That's
My bad. Because I didn't end up changing the form because I was coming to give you additional information before changing the fee schedule, because it's a
Right.
lot of
Had to
info on
refresh
both.
it.
Okay.
Yeah, we had to refresh because it had been.
No
That was
worries.
the problem.
If you want me to step back, I can, or I'll tell you if you want to catch up on number
I
7.
think we're fine if you want to continue where you're
Sounds
at.
good. So it's page 7 that shows the fee increase or decrease on this option 2 fees, and it's the only significant jump up is the gym, which goes up by $10, which effectively is a 40% jump. But when the rates are pretty low as it is, it just looks like a big jump, even though the actual number's not that bad. And then we didn't have rates before for the co-op, so those don't apply. And I don't think you guys had a lot of concern about the room fees. Additional ideas for possibly changing the overall cost for people is if we want to offer a full day rate after paying for 5 hours, like you could give them, the last few hours for free. Or if you wanted to, that actually belongs into the deposits, change the way the deposits are calculated depending if they have food or other things, and I'll get into that in a minute. So page 9, I propose that you could consider these as your deposits. I heard you say that $250 seemed like enough. We could consider lowering the $250 if you felt like you wanted to really make it more accessible, but Aaron's here too. I forgot to say, Aaron, come on up. He had stated to me that almost everybody pays with a credit card, and that, but we don't know if that's stopping people from booking altogether. They just aren't potentially booking because this has been our system for so long that that's already maybe a well-known barrier. If they haven't been booking, they figured that out a while ago. But it is a possibility that you lower it for small groups and for certain rooms. So that's what that's showing. And then I would just suggest the only room I feel a little more protective of is the co-op, because there's some nicer equipment and fully carpeted and glass, and AV equipment and things like that in there, and I'd feel a little more comfortable with a higher deposit. We don't have a deposit there now, but that's kind of for you to decide. And then you could speak for just a minute about how often we've had to charge people deposits.
Well, we've always charged people deposits.
Sorry.
But it's always been the standard flat $200 rate. So I think where we had talked about raising it was more for some of the larger groups that are mostly using the auditorium. But I'll be honest, we haven't held a deposit in for so long. I don't think it's a huge necessity to bump that up. So keeping it at the 250, I think is going to be fine. I think it's one of those incentives to just please don't wreck the place and clean up after yourselves. And it usually, most people abide by that, and they're able to get their deposits back. So it's not a huge deal, I don't think.
So this was one of the ones that you guys had the most comments about. If you want to discuss it now, or we can come back to it, but I'm very flexible with thinking about even lowering a deposit for some of those smaller rooms. Let me get into the next page or two, which shows other people's deposits. Sorry, I promised to do that too. And thanks to Aaron for doing a lot of this research. Logan City on page, the next page, which I think is 10, it's just not popping up. Comparable refundable deposits. Again, these are all refundable if they are left in good condition. Logan City Rec Center is $100. We've got South Jordan, Midvale, West Valley at $200. Ours at $250. Murray Park Center at $250. Higher ones include the Midvale City Park Amphitheater, which is a pretty big thing, and so is the Camas City Event Center. So those are much bigger facilities. So $250 is kind of in the mid to high on it, I guess you might say, but this is just a sample. And then on the next page, page 11, some options. As I said before, you could do the deposit based on the size. You could do 25 people. If you just want to say, yeah, that's a pretty small group, you could do 9 people, which is the occupancy of most of our meeting rooms. You could do it with, depending on what room they rent. There's carpeted rooms we're a little more worried about versus non-carpeted rooms. You could also have residents pay less and non-residents pay more on their deposit. I mean, effectively, we're not keeping the deposit in majority of cases. So residents, if they made damages and didn't fully cover it, it'd be somewhat subsidizing a resident's mistake over a non-resident's mistake if you made that choice. You could also, alternatively, or in addition, make your security deposit based on rules, whether or not there's food served, how long the event goes on. If alcohol is allowed, we don't allow alcohol in the building, but that's one of the case studies we saw was they charged a fee for that, just to be safe. So the next page on page 12 shows you what Cottonwood Heights does, because I thought they had a good breakdown of some of the things that they did. More or less than 50 occupants had different deposit levels. Non-residents had higher deposits, and then they had an alcohol fee, so they kind of charged all the fees. I gave you options before. And then they also made sure that they had the deposits for parties longer than 4 hours and where food would be served, and then they had their conditions there for when they can refund it. And they also did say if the deposit's insufficient, they can assess the balance to the renter, which we could do. It's just much harder after the fact, as you guys probably understand. So that's the summary of the room things I have on there. If you want to discuss a little more, I can keep going to the pavilions next.
I have a quick question. So can you tell me which spots you're the most worried about for damage? So you said the co-op. What else? Would you recommend something a little higher?
Well, like I said, I think you get more, when you have those larger groups, so the auditorium, it's more of foot traffic through the auditorium into the bathrooms and just kind of all over the place. So it's just the larger groups, I think, would be the most concerning. The small ones usually, like I said, aren't a huge deal.
Would that just be 3 then, the co-op, the auditorium, and the gym?
The co-op's a new space, obviously, that we're just kind of learning. But yeah, I mean, you've got a couple of rooms in there that, well, you can fit through the whole co-op space. I don't know, I think we're at 250 or 200, somewhere in there roughly.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact number, but yeah, you're going to get a large gathering in there as well, especially if they use the whole space.
Yeah.
I'll throw this out there while we're here, though. I do like what Cottonwood Heights has done. The smaller groups requiring a lower deposit, so.
I think that's generally what we see is less problems with small groups because they just aren't spread out everywhere. Once you get people in the bathroom and down the hall and in the auditorium and peeking down into the other wing and hanging out outside, there's just more place for them to leave stuff around or to hide what they're doing bad. If they're
I have another question. Does the auditorium, the rental of the auditorium include the kitchen?
not anymore because you might have missed my last explanation that the senior center doesn't want to have people using it if they're going to continue to get their health department permit.
Yeah, I remember hearing it, but I couldn't.
I would just like to throw this idea out there for discussion. I'm okay with keeping most of them at the 200 that we've had, creating a $100 deposit for some of the smaller rooms, and then nothing over 500, maybe 500 for those 3 spaces.
For the
co-op, the
co-op,
gym, and the auditorium.
The auditorium, yeah. I think that's fair.
That sounds good.
I like that.
And do you have any preference on number of people, or it's just the flat rate for those spaces? Because that's what those spaces hold. So effectively, it's 50 people in the smaller rooms and $100. I mean, that's just, those numbers correlate anyway.
Yeah.
Like you're paying a $100 deposit for the meeting room that only holds 49 people anyway.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter the number as much as the size of the room and its occupancy.
How soon do they get their deposit back, Aaron? Usually, is it just like the next day, it's just released?
Now we're able to, with the Civic Rec, we're able to get that back a lot quicker. Typically, it was running a check and doing a check process, but now we're able to, it's usually 3 to 4 days.
Okay.
Especially because most folks are using credit card or debit card, so we're able to refund it a lot quicker.
So to confirm, you guys want to break it down by room and charge up to $500 for the 3 big spaces and then leave it at $200 for the rest of them.
Yeah.
I like
And then I've got co-op that's new, so that proposal would be $250 or $500. I guess it'd be
Maybe
Depending on number of
appreciate
users.
your concern about the co-op and the glass and the equipment and all of that. So, but they can, I'm looking at this and it looks like in the co-op, I mean, there's different areas within the co-op.
Yeah.
So maybe if they're just renting the whole co-op.
yeah, the whole entire thing at once, which we allow. Otherwise, each of the rooms would be at the $250 because you can do the art room or the
Or 200, right? Because we're not
the
going to.
$200. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks.
We'll stick with the 200.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
You want to go through the pavilions?
Yep, we can go through pavilions next.
Okay.
And that starts on page 13. So again, the major changes on that was a large-ish increase in pavilion fees. It looks large by percentage, not a lot by dollar amounts. And then adding in making sure that the residents and nonprofits have a discount that brings them closer to other cities. Adding a deposit for the pavilion rental, which is a little tricky for us to monitor how we know if somebody's making a mess or not, but we are going to try to implement that. And we won't be able to implement a deposit until we can really implement how we check them, whether it's through cameras or through staffing that goes by. Even just this weekend, there was somebody who made a mess that took 2 hours to clean up. And if you go, okay, my folks are making about $40 an hour with benefits in their truck and their, all the stuff it costs us. And then again, we have the name changes for the pavilions, and we're excited to say that those names are now officially on them. If you walk in there, we have new signs on the Mill Creek and on the Spring Creek pavilions. And then the nonprofit rate was added. And I don't think I mentioned that last time. We've had some nonprofits want to use the pavilions for programs, even if they are sometimes for a fee, but it's a nice way to run an outdoor program in the summer.
Sharon, can I clarify something to just, because I don't know, I'm going to ask. What we're talking about with the pavilions is reserving a pavilion.
Yes.
It doesn't mean you're over at the park, there's going to be a group of 10 of you for a couple hours. You can use it if it's available, it's free to the public as part of the park.
Yes, we put signs on the pavilions themselves in a little glass-fronted case that says it's reserved for this person this whole day, and we do whole day rentals. We don't enforce that you shouldn't be there, but we do try to discourage people from using it and just so they don't get set up and hang out there forever. Most of our pavilion, I'd say 60% of the pavilions are rented on weekends. That means it's the whole day that somebody's got their name on it in the summertime. In the spring and fall, it's less than that. But weekdays, it's maybe 25%, 1 of 4 that's rented on any given day. So there's a lot of time during the week to just casually use it. And sometime on the weekends too.
Yeah, so just so anybody who's watching or in the future, this is not saying you have to pay this fee to use the pavilion.
To sit and eat your sandwich when you're walking your dog. If no one's there, you can
right,
do that.
Right. If it's not reserved, it's part of the park.
Yeah.
But if you're going to reserve it for the whole day, this is the fee.
And set up whatever time you want, leave your stuff whenever you want. Yeah, then that's what you pay.
And I just wanted to make sure that was out there.
Yeah, and we're lucky to have 4 pavilions. We don't have anything else there that's really a covered picnic table, so there's plenty of shady spots under a bench, but this is the only chance you have to, and we could change that. I mean, we could start adding picnic tables here and there. Actually, we have a few picnic tables by the playground. I forgot to say that. They're close to the big playground with the canopy. So the prices on that, the existing ones, I just put those in there on page 15. The proposed ones are shown on page 16 and showing the percentage increase, since you guys were concerned with that. So we'll just skip over option 1 that was last time and go to option 2. The resident rate for Lions goes from $30 up to $75. And that is, again, a 144-person pavilion. That's what those numbers are. Spring Creek goes from $25 up to $50, and that one holds 64 people. And then Wandamere and Mill Creek go from $20 and $25 up to $40. And those are, so none of those increases are more than right at 200% increase or doubling. It's pretty easy to double when it's only $20. It's just a fact. The biggest jump comes for the resident rate to use Lions Pavilion. It's pretty much like a regional pavilion when we compare it to these bigger pavilions in other parks, and it gets used in that way a lot of times. So that's why we put it up that high, but that's kind of up to you to think about that.
And what is Harmony Park for that pavilion? It's 100, isn't it? Or
I think it's 150. If you go to the next page, page 17, it's on there. It's 150.
right there. Yeah.
Yep. And General Home Park is 115. And that's probably more comparable in size to, it's somewhere in between. I think that one's 100 people, yeah. Murray is at 150 for that size. You can see the rest of them. I don't need to read them. But the cheapest pavilions kind of across the board come in West Valley City, and $40 or $50 for rental. And that's what we're proposing to bump the pavilions up to, either $40 or $50 for the smaller pavilions.
And then on this, the deposits as well, we wouldn't, so we're going to pass this even if we don't, or are we waiting on a deposit on this until we have a clear path on how we?
I don't think if putting a fee on the schedule obligates us to charge it, does it, Josh? You tell me. If we are not quite ready to inspect to give people's deposits back, we're not going to charge them just yet. And actually, most people booked these pavilions under last year's rates on April 1st, so they were not charged a deposit. So if we put it on the schedule, are we obligated to start charging it, or can we wait until we're kind of better prepared to?
Oh, it just authorizes you to charge them?
Yeah, okay. And in fact, because some people booked in the previous rates and some the later rates, I'm not quite sure if we'll change the rates mid-season or not.
Yeah.
Think about that.
I would say the pavilion deposit proposals are just very high.
At $250.
Well, is it still $500 for Lions?
We can change it.
It's
That's open for your conversation.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, I guess there's multiple proposals. Yeah, I would, the deposit I think is the biggest one for me that I think should be lowered to, I don't know what, but I think it's pretty high.
What are the current deposits?
There weren't.
None.
Oh, there, okay.
I would
That's
be
why I
okay
can't
with
find it.
maybe 200 on Lions, and then let's start at 100 on the other ones for deposits.
Yeah.
And if
I'm good with that.
I mean, we can always go up if we start having this trend of people trashing our properties, right?
I think 500 seems too steep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially that we've never charged it before.
Right.
And then now we're jumping it to 500.
Okay.
I think that's too much.
And I'm looking at this, and the option 2 just had those numbers in there still. Okay. So we would go.
As long as we can get their money back to them, relatively quickly. Most credit cards are released pretty quick, so.
So 200 for Lions and 100 for the others, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. And we have more damage at the parks because it's unsupervised and people kind of feel like they can do what they want.
And then maybe we need to put cameras in, or
Right.
maybe
So
that's
we want to work towards that.
Yeah, but and I feel like this deposit going from 0 to 200 is kind of that first message. Hopefully,
Okay.
we'll see if it works again. Like
Yeah,
Charlotte said, if it doesn't, we can increase.
Totally. Okay. So that sounds good. We'll just change those in there. And then my next slide was just any more feedback, but I had behind that the pavilion fees if you want an in-depth comparison of where other people's fees are compared to ours. But I kind of summarized it above. So, but if you really want to dig deep, I started doing the notes. I was like, this is a lot of information.
You know what? This was like a really murky, weird kind of topic for discussion, and I feel like you guys really came back with good information that helped us
Thanks.
make good decisions. So
I was going to vote no on this tonight, and I think with these changes, I'm supportive. The deposits, I think, were too high, and these going with option 2 on this is better, and it's fair. We rented Harmony last year, and I didn't pay for it, so I don't know, but I knew it was over $100.
Mm-hmm. And places cost money now, and you say you have a group of 100 people. It's still a really good deal,
Yeah.
and you don't have to clean your house afterwards or your backyard.
absolutely.
And I just wanted to point out there were some other options for pavilions that if you wanted to say no to them all, that's totally fine. But they was talking about maybe doing a half day for a lower fee if you guys were concerned, or charging a premium for weekend rentals and a discount for a weekday, requiring insurance for bigger activities. We already require special event permit for putting a bounce house or inflatable because they pound into the ground and sometimes damage things, but that permit doesn't have a fee associated with it, but you could have a deposit with it. But if we're having deposits, that's great. We can just use that. And then just a point is that we don't actually have a fee on our special event permits either.
I think let's just keep it simple.
Yeah.
I think where we're at is simple enough.
Yeah, I personally have been over there when like someone who had it reserved had to like call law enforcement to get people off, and it's like I think it just would get way more complicated if we started doing half days.
Yeah, it is hard. Yeah. Okay.
I'll make a motion that we put this off to the next council meeting when the final numbers come back to us in a fee schedule.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion from Shane, a second from Corey. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Any opposed? No. All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Erin. That was so helpful. All right, we're
I
gonna.
can handle this next one too.
Okay, we're gonna move on to new business item 1. I'll just turn the time over to Mayor. We're talking about bicycles.
Awesome. So just every, I don't know, it feels like every 3 months we come with the same resolution that bikes that are in evidence that have not been collected, that we've gone through a lengthy process of trying to connect the bikes back to the owners. We just don't have the storage space, and they would be donated to Free Bikes for Kids. So it's exactly the same.
And like we do every 3 months, I'm going to just make a motion that we suspend the rules and vote on this tonight. Summer's here, kids need bikes.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion to suspend the rules from Shane, a second from Corey. Roll call.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Okay, the rules are suspended. I will entertain a motion to take action on this item.
I'll go ahead and, I guess I'm doing them all tonight, sorry. I'm going to make a motion that we pass the resolution of the City of South Salt Lake granting permission for the city to appropriate bikes in its possession to a public interest use.
I'll second.
We have a motion from Shane, a second from Natalie. Roll call starting with Shane.
Yes.
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 All right. Thank you, everyone. All right, we have no need for a closed meeting, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
We have a motion from Natalie. We're all tired. And a second from Corey. All in favor?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
I was like.